my car, when I have the steering wheel about here, so it's like a slight tilt, the issue is that the car begins to, as soon as I move the wheel to straight, the actual car would go and start turning to the right. And so if you think about it, you have the two front wheels. And so when your steering wheel is straight, the steering wheel should be straight. But if the car is turning to the right, it means that the right wheel right there is pointing slightly to the right. And then the outboard, or this driver's side wheel, is pointing slightly that way. And so depending on where your tie rods connect to the actual axles, you can adjust the length of those in order to get them right. So basically you're kind of realigning the steering in this thing, but you're doing equal amounts on both sides so you don't end up messing up your car. Because this is stuff where if you misalign one wheel and the other wheel is also pointing slightly inboard like that, then you can start getting uneven tire wear and burning through tires. So that's not what we want to do. We want to make sure that we adjust both these wheels so that they stay parallel to each other at all times. And so it's really important to make sure that you do equal amounts of adjustment on both sides. Now, with that out of the way, if we take a look outside of the car, what I have here is the driver's side wheel removed, and this is the actual tie rod. And sometimes the tie rod can connect to this side of the wheel, which completely changes the adjustment that you'll be doing. But in our case, because this wheel is slightly pointing this way, what we want to do is adjust this tie rod so that this thing is shorter here in order to pull that guy in. And then on the other side of the car, what we want to do, I haven't taken this wheel off, but basically is adjust that tie rod, because right now this wheel is slightly pointing out like that, and make it longer so that it becomes straight too. And so what I'm going to do is 90 degrees of a turn on the little adjustment, which is this guy right here. And so the way these work is you've got a jam nut or a lock nut on here, and once you've loosened up this jam nut, you are then able to thread this guy a certain number of turns in or out of this guy, and that is what effectively shortens or lengthens this tie rod right here. And so in my case, what I'm doing is I want to be on this wheel, because it's slightly out like that, we want to be shortening this guy. So basically we're going to be threading this guy into this to make this whole rod effectively shorter. And so I'm going to walk you guys through that, and I hope this video is helpful for you guys, so stay tuned. Okay, so first thing we do here is we loosen up the actual lock nut. And then on this wheel, because it's pointing slightly too far that way, I'm going to be shortening this thing. And so basically what I'm going to do, I've got our lock nut very loose here. Sorry if you guys can't see that. Let me try to get a good angle. And so what we want to do is make this thing shorter. So we're going to thread this guy in like that while holding this thing still. So basically that means that I want to be rotating this guy that way, counterclockwise. Now I got this guy done, and now we do the same thing on the other side.